Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anne Koopman and I'm a leadership coach, facilitator, lecturer and speaker, and I empower emerging leaders to lead with courage, emotional intelligence and with their strength. If you are new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe below so that you don't miss out on my new videos. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 10 signs of how you can spot bad leaders. Before we get into today's topic though, just a quick reminder that if you'd like to understand what your authentic leadership superpower is and how you can use your strength to become the best leader you can be, then make sure you check out my quiz about finding your authentic leadership superpower and go to annekoopman.com/authentic leader and you will instantly get your results and emails that would help you step by step to put your newfound superpower into action. Hands up if you've ever experienced a bad leader. I have 100% in my 10-year career in the manufacturing world as an individual engineer myself, and then as a leader, I have experienced and seen bad leaders in action. And I've seen what they have done to actually destroy a culture, destroy trust, and also affect the engagement of people, the overall feeling of the environment, the safety, and also the retention and attraction to the business. And why it's so important to start to work towards becoming better leaders is because we gotta break the cycle of bad leadership. Because the thing is, when we grow up, when we emerge as leaders in an organization, and all that we have to look at, all that we see as an example is bad leadership, then that's what we internalize. That's what we start to believe what leadership is all about. It was the same for me. When I started my leadership journey, I had a lot of bad leaders as an example. And that led me to believe that I had to react in a certain way, that I had to use a lot of pressure, that I had to use shame, that I had to raise my voice to be taken serious. And then over time, I realized that that was not the right way to go about, and that you can be much more effective if you are an authentic and courageous leader. But if all we see is bad leadership, then we take on board these characteristics, we take on board these leadership traits, and we think that that's the way to manage. Furthermore, bad leaders look at grooming the next level of leaders. So they pick people that are similar to them. And so it's this always ongoing cycle that we really need to break if we want to work towards a great culture and if we want to work towards a team and organizations that can thrive in this highly changing environment. So therefore, I feel like it's really important that we start to spot bad leaders so we can actually give them feedback, we can start to call them out, and we can start to reflect on ourselves whether we portray any of these signs. So point number 1 is that bad leaders lead with authority alone and create a lot of pressure and stress. They believe by even creating artificial stress and pressure, by really making sure that people fear that if they make mistakes, that people fear if they don't deliver on time. That's how they believe that they can actually get work done. It works short term, for sure. People react well to pressure on a short-term basis. But on a long-term basis, it can actually create a lot of issues with the people, with the teams that you lead. It can create big issues for retention. It can create engagement issues. It can create health issues even. Another thing that bad leaders do is that they use a lot of shame and blame. So if you make mistakes, they will use shame to make you feel horrible. They will try and embarrass you in front of others. They will yell at you in front of others. They will point out your mistakes in front of others, but not in a way that is encouraging and helpful, but in a way to shame you, in the order then again to create more pressure for you to perform better. Again, this is not the well-being of our people in mind. It doesn't create trust, and it also actually makes sure that we are worn down over time and that we actually feel really scared. And when we feel scared, we're not actually going to deliver everything that we can. We won't take risks, and we won't actually follow the leader and do anything we can to support their vision and mission. Point number 3 is that bad leaders have a big lack of self-awareness. So they don't really spend time to understand themselves and their emotional triggers. They don't really understand how they're reacting and why they're reacting in a certain way. They don't really understand what their values are, what's actually important to them, and why they feel triggered sometimes. They don't really spend time to look at their own well-being and their coping mechanisms, their self-regulation techniques. And The most important part, they are not really externally self-aware, so they don't really know how they come across to others, how their behaviors, their actions, their words impact the people that they lead. Point number 4 is that bad leaders often raise their voice. And this is because they have no form of self-awareness that leads to self-regulation. So it's an out-of-control attempt to create control. So if they feel stressed, if there has been an issue with quality, the team has made a mistake or they have made a mistake, they start to feel a little bit out of depth and maybe anxious. But instead of reflecting on that and figuring out what can they do to help and support themselves, they actually start to yell as a deflection of their own emotional energy. There's a video around self-regulation that I'm just going to link as well, because that will just help you if you want to get better at regulating your emotions to figure out a few tricks and tips right there. Point number 5 is that bad leaders do not admit their own mistakes or admit that they don't have all the answers. They think that they have to pretend that they know everything. They can never make a mistake. They might even blame other people. It's actually often because they're not quite confident themselves. Often as leaders, we believe that we have to have it all figured out. We believe that to be a leader and to be respected, we have to know everything. We can never make mistakes. And if we lack the self-awareness, the self-reflection, and the really inner work to know our strength, then it's really hard to actually admit that we have weaknesses or to admit that we've made a mistake. Point number 6 of how you can spot bad leaders is that they don't invest any time in building trust. They don't invest time in getting to know the people that they lead. They don't invest time in sharing something about themselves. They don't invest time to really spend time with all the different individuals and also engage in a little bit of informal conversation. And also as leaders, it's really important to get to know the different strengths of your team members so that you can trust them with bigger tasks, trust them with something they've never done before, and really encourage them to go above and beyond and try something new, take little risks. But that requires trust and that requires investment. Point number 7 of how you can spot bad leaders is that they don't create psychological safety in their team. So they don't create a team environment where team members feel that they can trust one another, where they feel that they can show up and admit that they made mistakes, that they can show up and ask for help, that they can share their opinions, even if it's different to the opinion of their leader. See, if you're a bad leader, you think it's all about you. If you can't admit that you don't know everything, that you don't have all the answers, then it's also really, really hard to listen to other people's suggestions and maybe admit that another suggestion was actually the better one. So they're lacking the ability to create this safe environment that helps people to feel safe to take risks, to say what they think, because in the end, that will actually lead to the best results. Point number 8 is that bad leaders lack communication skills and they don't really have the ability to engage in difficult conversations. They might even shy away from them and pretend they didn't see this, it didn't happen, or to just kind of run away and find excuses because they will find it really hard to get feedback themselves. They will find it really hard to show empathy and to really engage with the person that they're talking to have those difficult conversations that need a little bit of discomfort. And don't mistake having difficult conversations with having conflict or yelling at someone. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having a proper conversation with two equals where they exchange what they think, what they feel, and feedback. And the next point relates to the communication skills. And I mentioned it before, bad leaders lack empathy. They don't really spend time to tune into the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions of the other person, maybe even their perspective, their experiences, starting to try and ask themselves, what do they need right now? Where are they coming from? Why are they acting this way? Why are they asking me these questions? So the ability to actually slow down, take time, and put themselves into somebody else's perspective, they often don't take because they think it's all about authority and pressure. And the soft skills, the skills that actually help you connect with your team members, they've never learned to take time to do that. And point number 10 is that bad leaders often believe that they are above everyone else. They believe that they're better, that they're smarter, that they're the most important person in the room. But the secret to really great leadership is that it's not about you. It's about your team members and empowering them to do their best work, supporting them, creating a safe environment so that they can shine, coaching them to find their strength, coaching them to step into their knowledge, their power to actually deliver the best work. And as a result, that will make you shine as the leader. But the first instant, it's not about you, it's about them. So these were 10 points of how you can spot a bad leader. But the good news is we can work on that. Maybe one of these points resonated with you and you felt like, ooh, I might be doing that. That's okay. We all started somewhere. I've definitely tapped into some of these points because I didn't know any better. And then I've started to do the work, started to do self-development and really look at how can I actually become a better leader. So all of these points we can address with a bit of self-reflection, with a bit of reflection and asking for feedback, with a bit of time spent on our own development. Love to hear from you. What resonated with you? Which points have you seen in action? Have you seen a bad leader that had any of these characteristics? Let me know in the comments below. And if you would like to learn more about any of these points, feel free to send me a message as well.